Ian. Good evening, everyone. This is the Village Board Workshop of April 15th, 2026. Let me have a call to order. I have a roll call clerk.
Trustee Bardis.
Here.
Trustee Bosey.
Here.
Trustee Hall.
Yeah.
Trustee Woods.
Here.
Mayor Foley.
Okay, moving on to announcements. The next yard waste pickup is next week. Put it out Wednesday night for pickup on Thursday. The next phase of the public visioning process for the marathon site starts the last week of April. There are daytime and evening sessions. Details are on the village website and social media and will be emailed. Reminder that this event is not sponsored by the village. It is run and paid for by the property owner. The consultant planner is working for the developer, not for the village. It's a visioning process. It does not supersede the public planning process. Any application for a plan will need to be referred to the village's planning, zoning, and HDRB boards for review. So there will be ample opportunity for public comment and participation. So this is just the first step. Just letting the board know, we have a Haldane intern coming. The seniors spend the last 3 weeks of their senior year out in the world, seeing what it's like to go to work. And there's a young woman who is interested in government.
Great.
She's going to be with us for the 3 weeks in May. I'm very excited to find things for her to do. If we have thoughts, is that 20 hours a week? There are particular projects that you think would be helpful.
Is that a
Let us
paid
know.
thing? No,
Is that a what?
it's not paid, right?
No.
And you have one landscape? I need gardeners.
That's the thing.
Actually, Bugsy had one year in highway, and someone who wanted to go into that field, and Drift King had 2 interns.
Oh,
People
wow.
who were interested in doing mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
Okay, opportunity to add to or modify the agenda. The clerk has requested 2 additions. One is the acceptance of the March 2024 monthly report from the clerk. We're not able to submit it in time. And the second is discussion to reschedule our May monthly meeting because we'll be at NICOM. I would make a motion to add those
The Justice Clerk, just to be clear,
for the justice clerk, for the court.
the Justice Court report.
So Andrew made a motion, Laura seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so tonight is a working session of the village board. It's not a public hearing, not a public comment session. You are welcome to stay and observe, but we're not going to be opening the floor to comment. The oral portion of the public hearing on the budget closed at the end of last week's meeting. The written portion closed last night at 5 p.m. There will be no more comment taken on the village budget. The first portion of our board meeting is board business, which will occur in open session. And then the second is an executive session to discuss employment history vis-a-vis the budget, as well as current litigation with the village's council. That portion will be closed to the public. When it's time, and when we're at that portion of the meeting, I'll make the motion to enter executive session. Okay. So the first, let's knock out the 2 that we added.
Could I ask that we, since James is on, is that,
These item,
okay,
If I don't.
James Everly. Yeah, we can do that first. Actually, I wrote Everly and couldn't remember but
yeah.
We're gonna switch up a little bit and start with the Climate Smart Task Force. James Everly is with us, so I'll let Laura do introductions. And we have one person waiting to come in if we wanna. Hold on for 1 second while we admit that person. Thank you.
I have a copy of that contract.
It's in the,
Okay.
it's in the board packet, should be, it doesn't say budget presentation.
Yeah, but I mean,
Who is this?
I don't know, it's not a name. Your call, you're the clerk. Okay,
Okay,
carry
great.
on.
So,
Introduction.
so I think as the board and many people know, we have been looking at EV chargers for quite a while. And a constraint that we have is old infrastructure that is underground and then limited space in our dense historic village. And so I came across this company Volt Post that has pole mounted chargers, which address a lot of those constraints because there's no trenching, they're up in the air. So I've been working with James and others at Volt Post on a proposal. And really interestingly, it's part of a NYSERDA pilot project, NYSERDA funded pilot project in New York State where Post is partnering with other municipalities. And just to preview it, we'll go through it in more detail. The site that we're looking at is the lot on New Street that the village owns. So James, thank you so much for being here. We're glad to have you and invite you to just really briefly tell us about Volt Post and how your chargers work, about this NYSERDA grant, and then if you can walk through the proposal briefly and also explain the differences of the responsibilities of Volt Post and the responsibilities of the village. I
Sure.
can provide that. I can as well.
Sure. No, thank you for having me. I'll share a very quick presentation because I think seeing it visually helps. So bear with me while I work this with Zoom. I'm assuming that everybody can see this okay.
Yeah, great.
Great. So Volt Post was founded just over 5 years ago. We're a mission-driven company with the aim of democratizing access to EV charging. Around not just the US, but European countries, a lot of drivers do not have access to private garages. Therefore, they either struggle to charge their electric vehicle or they simply don't buy one at all to begin with. So Volt Post was really pleased to be able to launch last year the Volt Post Air. It mounts 10 foot on almost any pole. Could be a metal streetlight, could be a concrete streetlight, could be a wooden pole. The driver activates the charger through a simple QR code, and then the cable automatically lowers down to an ADA compliant height, which is 48 inches off the ground. There's then a button on the cable, which then extends the cable. There's about 25 feet of cable at the max, which means you could then plug into wherever the port is on your vehicle. The driver charges their vehicle. Once they unplug, the cable automatically retracts back up into its housing. For anyone that is interested, there's quite a cool video from a YouTuber called Mike the Car Geek, who visited one of our deployments at the Henry Ford Museum in Michigan, where he tested it out in 4 degrees in the snow, and it still works. A lot of engineering has gone into the cable and the mechanism. The cable is actually made of a special polymer that means it's flexible even in the cold. By mounting 10 foot up the pole, it came about through work in the city of LA. Basically, putting it 10 foot on the pole minimizes vandalism, minimizes other things like flooding, issues with snow. It's not going to get buried in snow. It's not going to be hit by a vehicle or a snow plow. The NYSERDA project that was mentioned fully funds the charger. So it covers the hardware and the installation cost. As part of this project, we are deploying 13 dual port chargers across New York State. We've installed one at the Made Bush terminal in Brooklyn. We've installed 2 curbside locations in Glens Falls, and we're currently working with yourselves as well as Saratoga Springs and one other whose name escapes me. As part of this installation, we also cover all ongoing operations and maintenance, including driver support. For those that are interested, all of our chargers are Build America, Buy America compliant. They're actually manufactured up the road in Connecticut. So it's supporting American jobs, American businesses. I won't spend a long time on this, but our team, has worked really hard. And last year we got a lot of recognition from some fairly prestigious organizations, which was a great reflection for the team. We currently have projects in New York, obviously, Connecticut. We're at various stages of deploying across Connecticut. We've just done some deployments in Michigan with a few more in the coming weeks. We have a project in Massachusetts, which also involves one of our partners in Zipcar. And we've just won a project with ComEd in Illinois and Pepco in DC. And I promised that would be a short presentation, and I'll turn it over to you guys for any questions.
Do you want to ask general questions, or do you want to see should we put the site plan up and just walk through the site first?
I think that would be helpful.
Okay, great. Do you have that, James, available to put up the site plan?
I can do if you give me a minute.
But I have to join on Zoom first, so it's probably faster if you do it, and then maybe if anyone from the board has any initial questions, I can as well.
I've got one thing,
Yeah.
a couple of things to say, which is, James, thanks very much for inviting us into this exciting program, and also you, Laura, because I know you spent a lot of time over the last 2 or 3 years, a lot of heavy lifting and hard searching and application for getting us this far. James, my question to you is, what's if you can tell us what's the driver's experience? How does the app work? And if someone wants to go charge their car, what's that experience like? What do they do?
Sure. So basically, one of our founders used to work for Samsung, did a lot of their product design, led all of their user experience for things like the smartwatch and things. So we're very driven around a positive and simple user experience. There's a QR code on a sticker, on a little sign that goes at normal level on the pole. You scan that QR code, and then you can pay straight away through Apple Pay, Google Pay. That commences the session. Cable lowers down, you plug in, charge, unplug, it retracts. If users prefer to record their details and their charging session information, they're going to use it more than once, then they can download our app, which is even simpler because obviously you then store your payment information in the app. And whenever you want to start a session, you just scan the QR code, the app launches, you click start, and it charges. So we sort of have two defaults, which is, not everybody wants to download an app. So in that case, if you just scan the QR code, you'll get taken to a payment page, and you'll have the app option of Apple or Google Pay, or you could enter a credit card. And then after the session, you're forgotten, or you can then choose to download the Voltpost app, which is on, all of the standard online stores, in which case, you don't have to go through that process each time.
Thank you.
When you said ongoing maintenance, including driver support, what did you mean by driver support?
So there is a phone line, phone number that they can ring. I've tried to do this, it doesn't work, or whatever their issue might be.
Can't figure this out.
yeah, it's driver support, and there's a human on the other end of the phone to help guide them.
And is that all the time? If I started charging at 2 in the morning, is someone there?
Yes, there's US try again. There's US based call people from sort of normal business hours, and then there's a secondary call center that covers the out of hours. So even at 2 a.m., someone should answer the phone.
So I see that as a real plus with this because they're not calling the village clerk to ask for help with the EV charger. And it's one fewer piece of technology we need to manage. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's pretty common for EV chargers to have a phone number. You hope that you don't have to use it, but it's good that it's there. But I think that the fact that Volpos will take care of the maintenance is a big deal. I mean, I think we don't want to take on and frankly, the ownership of this. I think we are part of a pilot and we're really excited about it, but we appreciate that Volpos is kind of doing the heavy lifting on it.
Yeah, I agree.
James, if I'm driving, say, from Danbury and I'm looking for a charging spot, will it show up on whatever I might be looking at? Or how do people find the spot?
Very good question. And we recently signed a partnership with a company called Eco Movement. And basically, they take all of our charger location data and then they share it with Google Maps, the Tesla app, PlugShare, and any of the other main ones. So it may not be live today because it takes a few weeks for Google Maps to update everything, but within the next day or week, all of our chargers will be on Google Maps and others.
And what is you may have said this and I missed it. What is the speed of this charger? Like in the scale of like there are roughly three speeds, fast, slower, and
Yeah. No, good question. And I didn't cover it, so you didn't miss it. It's a 9.6 kilowatt charger, which is classed as a level 2 charger.
Okay.
It's one of those speeds where it works well as a destination charger or an overnight type charger. 2 hours of charge, would give you 18 kilowatt hours, which, is probably around 60 to 70 miles of range, depending on the vehicle. So even just 2 hours is a nice amount of charge.
Excellent. Right.
Yeah. I can show my screen and show the site plan if, okay, great. Okay. Let's see if that works. Okay, it's quite large. So this is the site plan that we were given. So again, this is the location on New Street. Like you can't see my cursor.
Again, just tiny bit. See it.
You want me
No. But you can see that line there.
The dot. Yeah.
Dots. And then also this is quite technical. But this is the site. So it's on the kind of away from the water side, close to the road. Oh, sorry, it loads very slowly. You can see the red dot. So that's where there would be, importantly, there needs to be a new pole, a new utility pole that's added, and it would be in that site.
The cross street is Market that we're looking at.
Correct.
New and Market.
Yep. So the water is on your left side, the river's on your left side, and Market's on your right side. And it would be 2 spaces. I think there's a good photo that's here.
Yes. Just wanted to clarify first.
Yes. And I was saying, it's important to make the distinction between Volt Post's role and our role. So Volt Post would own the utility pole.
Okay. And just for members of the public who haven't been with us for previous discussions, Central Hudson is not keen on,
They refuse to allow that on their pole. And so this was the creative solution from Volt Post.
and we hope that that is something, I mean, we hope there are lots of things that change about Central Hudson, but that's in this context, we hope that something that changes. I mean, I think you get a real sense of what a reduced visual impact it is
Mhm.
on an existing pole that someone's already looking at. So this is our compromise to get to that, and hopefully if the board decides, I don't think we're ready to make a decision tonight, but if the board decides to go in this direction, hopefully we set a precedent and more folks pick up on the fact that it's a good thing.
And
I think, yeah, please.
it may just be worth highlighting that it's a utility style pole. It's not exactly the same. It is smaller, not as tall, but in essence, it is a wooden pole. So, calling it a utility pole is a fair description, but it's more like utility pole light, because it is a smaller version.
That's right.
James, is there like an overhead tie-in then to an approximate?
Yeah,
utility
it's the one that you can see
Yeah.
there. That's what they'll tie into.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's something the small cell carriers have done for years, is install these poles and then connect overhead to the nearby utility poles. The pole itself can actually be installed in an hour. It can be that quick. And because there's no trenching, there's minimal disruption. But yeah.
So it sounds like from what you're describing, it would need to be on the northern side of the lot, closer to the street side. It couldn't be deeper in the lot.
I met on site with their partner who does these installations, and we felt like it made the most sense there, because not only because it's close to that existing pole and it was the right kind of angle.
Yep.
But also because I think you had brought this up. Snow removal pushes this
Yes.
and you want the pole to be close to the parking spaces. So it was the spot that made the most sense for a number of
It's also
of
visible
reasons.
for someone
Yeah,
who's
and
looking for
yeah, yeah.
So we've talked before about this lot has historically been rented to Hudson House. Correct. And that lease is up for renewal and ready for renegotiation. I did contact Regina Bay, who is the owner of Hudson House, and she is jazzed about the idea of
Mhm.
having it. So that's a plus. Great. What else do we need to cover this evening while we have James with us?
I've got two questions. What is the cost to drivers doing this?
James, I don't know if you could hear that. What's the cost to drivers?
Yep. It's a good question. It is determined in part by the rate that Central Hudson sets, and then obviously we have to add an operating margin on top. I can follow up with Laura, because apologies, I don't have the figure off the top of my head, but
Roughly.
I mean, I know that for Connecticut, it's around 36 to 39 cents per kilowatt hour. So provided the Central Hudson rate isn't more than, the Eversource and UI rate that they have in Connecticut, it will be similar to that. But if you look at
What's the kilowatts used on the average charge? Or there is no average charge?
so typically, I mean, it depends on the use case. you could see cars taking 20, 30, 40 kilowatt hours. But around, if you're around that sort of 39 cent per kilowatt hour mark, it's a very competitive level 2 rate.
And also I downloaded your app just to check it out. I also have EVs. And so I'm looking at the Glens Falls, and there it's 25 cents per kilowatt hour plus tax, a 49 cent connection fee, and then there's an idling fee, which is also pretty
So that's what it would be for Cold Spring, again, provided Central Hudson isn't too different from Glens Falls. I'm not sure if Glens Falls is a different utility.
I think it's NICEAG.
Yeah. Um,
I thought of something else, which is, we were talking about it on the other side, that there would be, like, there's a penalty charge that incurs if you
so that's
overstay.
that's this idle fee.
That's the other thing? Okay.
Yeah. Um,
I got a few more questions.
yeah, go ahead. Okay.
What is the cost to the village for doing this, if any? And are we gonna be getting revenue from this?
So, we will not, there is no cost because they will own their grant is paying for the installation and they will own and maintain the unit. But in exchange, we get no revenue. So, so we aren't, and we, under other examples, like other sites that we've looked at, we would have owned it, we would have set the price, and then we would have collected the
so this is
revenue.
gonna
So
cost-
the
It's gonna
difference,
cost the village nothing.
nothing, we,
Nothing. We're
we
not
have,
gonna make any money on it,
well, we won't make any
but
money.
it's still,
But- But from my
okay.
perspective,
No,
it
that's-
means
that's-
there's less work for village staff, there's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we are we're providing a service, but we're not involved in the, kind of the operations or the risk of it.
I seen one of the contracts, I'm not sure if it was from these guys, about a software cost and a installation
I think that's
cost.
another,
Oh, okay. 'Cause
Right,
that's
What
so
we're looking
That
at.
was
that-
for $16,000 plus $7,000 for software charges or something like. All right, so we're not going that
Yep,
direction, fine.
yep, yeah.
I'm good.
that's right.
So, if I may, you're
Yeah,
you're
please.
absolutely you're absolutely right, and it's frustrating because in some of our conversations that I've been leading our Connecticut project, you have conversations and they say other companies have offered us free chargers, and we again also have a grant that we won in Connecticut, and everything is genuinely free. There are some companies that offer free charges and then say, well, you need to cover the network fee, the service fee, the software fee. There's no hidden fee with this project. It is 100% no cost to Cold Spring. And I would also say that if it is successful, we get good utilization, we monitor it over a year. We may look to see if there's other sites that we might be able to do. We would be open to a potential future revenue share. The main thing is to start with something, collect the utilization data, and then see how we can improve it, and how the town might benefit too.
I mean, this is the beauty of being part of a pilot project.
Yeah.
And the challenge with the path we were on originally with buying the chargers was we were buying a technology, clearly a rapidly evolving technology at a moment in time, and we stuck with it. So to me, among the benefits of being part of this project is that, companies like Volt Post is going to be thinking about what to do next better. And if we're already in the stream of with them and have an established relationship, there's the opportunity to benefit from that as well.
If it's not costing us, I'm all about it. If it's free, it's for me. As they say.
All right, well, what else do we need? Are there other particular things? What is the material? As you said, it's wood, the pole. Like a standard telephone pole.
Yes, a utility pole, just a bit smaller.
And there's some more details in this site plan with dimensions.
So what do you see as next steps?
I think from our perspective, we have, a village attorney that's reviewing that post-trade agreement. I think the village board needs to consider it as well, based on what you've heard. And then the one action, my understanding from you, James, is the one thing that needs to be signed for us to participate is that host site agreement. Though there is actually, I think the installer had asked me about a building permit, so we have to figure out if we go forward, what form they fill out for a building permit.
That's
the
should-
village
That
property.
should be simple,
So
simple.
they don't have to do it at all.
Exactly.
Okay, great. So I think that's the one decision that we have. Is that signing, and so we could add it to a future board agenda, final decision.
And what is the timeline that you are working with, James?
So we have installations happening almost like as we speak, obviously not at this hour. We're keen to progress with you guys. The sooner the better. There's no hard deadline as such. If you said, the board doesn't meet for another 6 months, then that would be challenging, but we're happy to just
We meet a lot.
Question of when we don't.
but the sooner you can get the site host agreement signed, the better. We have to submit that to NYSERDA along with the design that you shared, because we have like a milestone-based project, and one of the milestones is the plan and the site host agreement. And then, we can move as quickly as you can. If you need several weeks to process it, that's understandable. That's fine. Again, we can be guided by you, but the sooner the better from our perspective.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
I think we could wrap it up pretty quick. We just gotta have a meeting about, the Hudson House using the lot and get that lease part squared away, but otherwise that should be quick, right?
We own the property. Right
Mhm.
now, it is our lot. It is leased to Hudson House. The lease is up for renewal and needs new negotiation,
Oh, yeah.
but the lease, it doesn't hold us back from proceeding with this because
Oh, good.
it's on property we own. And Regina is open to the inclusion of an EV charger in the space. So I think we can bake this in as we renegotiate that lease.
Okay, very good.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Jane.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you,
for.
James.
No problem. Thank you.
Have a good night. Good night. Well, let's keep the theme and talk about utility poles. We do have a code chapter, chapter 90, that is, it requires village approval for the installation of new utility poles.
On village property or?
In the village period. So, you need a copy of the chapter, it's a short one.
No, I'll put your word for that. You just stick a hole in it.
There were, mark out requests for 6 East Belvedere, just how it came on our radar. We contacted the property owner. He provided, a site plan, which you have in your packet. You'll recall that in June 2025, East Belvedere was declared a public street by resolution of this board. And so we do have planned public water upgrades on that road. So my concern with this location was making sure that we didn't interfere with what is being looked at by the water and wastewater department and by the engineers. So we sent the site plan over, and Paul Volpicelli visited the site, and I'm looking for his recommendation. At the time of this visit, the proposed utility pole location was staked approximately 15 feet from the edge of the road and approximately 27 feet from the painted location of the sanitary sewer line. If the pole is installed as it is marked, there should be adequate space between the existing sanitary sewer and the utility pole to construct a possible future water main along the south side of East Belvedere. Furthermore, at this time, we do not believe the proposed utility pole location would impact future drainage improvements.
I got a silly question.
Okay,
Why do we need a pole?
he's adding a service, a new house. new structure.
But isn't there electric there already?
I'm not an electrical engineer. Con Ed determined that it needed a pole. for that
Because I would
service.
push for underground service, less wires up in the air, the better.
Yeah, you don't do that for a single connection though. That's a big picture
No, you do for.
issue.
I did it in my building. You just put it underground, it goes in and.
Is that something
I
that
mean,
the board,
It's less stuff up in the air that you gotta worry about.
I don't know
With
how, I don't
storms
know
and
how,
everything.
I don't know how Central Hudson would feel about it. I mean, I'd love to get wires underground if we
I
have
didn't
the
give you a hard time at
opportunity.
all. I mean, especially on a new installation. That's just a thought.
Well, what do others think about that? Would you like to raise that possibility with Central Hudson?
Well, it would be this is for, this guy's paying for it for his house, correct?
He is the developer of the property and he'll be selling it.
Well, then, I think having it underground would be a good start.
It's number 6, right?
Yeah,
It has
it's
to be
the
up
new
there
one.
after
It
that.
is.
Yeah, I know where the house is. I thought there was electric on the street already, but,
Well, there is electric on the street, but I guess for demand reasons. and
well,
Central
maybe
Hudson wants
it's
to
on the
sell it.
other side and he's gotta cross over to get to, all right. But,
This is a motion process that's in motion and
It is.
tied into the completion of the
It is in
construction.
motion. We are in session again next week. So it's not a vast amount of time if we want to pause and ask that question. I mean, it's a drop in the bucket in terms of overhead lines in the village. They're everywhere. So I don't want to hold this guy up for a dream of overhead lines.
Just wonder if it was explored and why we have to unfold.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be his fault.
Right, not a public pole. The Central Hudson pole on his property.
Okay, then do it.
What, do what?
If you can't do it underground, a pole,
I don't know that he can't do it underground. He's asking to
No,
do a standard pole.
if you can't, then let him do it.
I don't know that he can't, but the point is, this person is in process and wanting to move forward. So for us to pause and ask him if he'd be willing to put it underground,
No,
it would be
let
the
him
only
do the
buried line
pole.
on the street.
I think once you put a pole in, it belongs to Central Hudson though, right?
Yeah, correct, but the point is, it will be the only buried line on that, it's not
No,
gonna make
once
the
you
other
put-
poles go away.
Once you put a pole in, the pole becomes property of Central Hudson, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, I'm not pushing for underground, I just thought it was possible. If the guy wants to do it, let him put a pole in.
Other feedback?
I don't think we could do that and not every other time that there was a request, say that they have to put it underground, right? Like if there's a higher
Yeah,
cost
it's
to
an
it,
unusual-
then
it's an-
then that's a policy decision of.
I mean, how often does this come up?
It's come up twice in the last year, with the
Oh.
new pole on Main Street.
I think you're correct about the larger point is in an ideal world, we'd want to bury
Everything
all
under.
power lines and that's something we could.
And that is, I
Look
will say that is
towards
something
the
that
future.
Central Hudson is super resistant. I mean, from an aesthetic point of
Yeah.
view, it's amazing. And thinking about wind,
Mhm.
you know, and dealing with storms, it's an amazing idea. Central Hudson worries about getting to their wires. So it's kind of a whole cultural shift.
Mhm.
And not something that the village we cannot afford to put the wires underground.
No, there would be, the homeowner
Yes,
puts the
Tony, we're
wire.
talking about the broader picture of the rest of
Oh,
the
okay,
village. Yeah. This is at his expense.
Okay.
So it sounds like we're coalescing around yes.
Yeah.
To the poll? Okay.
Yeah.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I mean,
Motion, the guy can put his pole in.
Okay, so on the agenda is the.
I'll make a motion, I'll make a motion.
There's English.
You need to reword the.
I'll make a
motion to, install, to allow for the installation of a pole on East Belvedere Street per chapter 90 of the village code.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yep. We added in acceptance of the court report for March 2026. Would someone like to make a motion on that item? So just add it to the record from the March meeting.
Good.
I make a motion to add the village court clerk report from March 2026 to the record.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item before we roll into budget, we've done the utility pole, we've done climate smart, is rescheduling the monthly meeting. Next, the monthly meeting is May 15th. 4 of us are at NICOM. So, question is, do we have a preference for holding it on the 8th or the 22nd? I would first ask you, as the clerk who prepares for the monthly meeting, is a week after easier for you in terms of getting all the reports in, et cetera? Everyone getting their reports to you, I mean,
I think it's better to do it the week before,
the 8th.
and then there'll be a free week and, right, we usually do them, our regular meetings are at the second Wednesday of the
Wait, I'm
month.
looking at April.
The second Wednesday of the month and then fourth Wednesday.
It's May 13th. I'm sorry, I was looking for April calendar. So you're suggesting doing it on May 6th?
Is that this?
That's the
The
first
first
Wednesday of the
Wednesday.
month.
Yes,
I'll just say I'm tentative, or I may be remote.
or wherever anybody can go.
How are people?
The reason the only reason it matters is for bill payment. So we have a meeting next week. If you vote on the budget. Otherwise, we'll have a meeting the next week to vote on the budget. The budget has to be accepted by the first of the month, before the first of the month. So we need to pay bills. We're doing bills next week.
Next week.
So that will be the 22nd. And then that's a good amount of time in between the 22nd. Then we don't have to do them the next week because that meeting's tentative. And we could do them on the 8th if everybody's available.
6th.
The 6th.
I am available on the 6th.
Okay, otherwise
Laura
we would
is
have to wait
tentative.
another 2 weeks and that's a long time to wait for bills.
Yes, we cannot wait that long with bills.
I'm flexible either way, but just one point to note is May the 7th is an important filing date for the vote that we took last week, May 7th.
Oh, right. Well, it may be useful to have a meeting that night and regardless.
Okay, yeah,
We'll discuss that in session with John.
okay.
How about you?
It should be fun.
Good for May 6th.
Mhm.
I'm good.
You okay with
And I'll
that?
do my best.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Okay. So now we move on to our last item for the evening, which is continued discussion on tentative budget. Michelle is not able to be here tonight. She did provide some notes for us, and we have some items personnel to discuss in executive session. So just a reminder, we closed the public comment period last night at 5. We made that vote last week. We received oral comments from 3 residents and additional written comments from 1 of them. Most of the questions asked could be answered in the publicly available tentative budget packet and schedules, but there are 3 items I'd like to address for the record. First, related to the audit. The village's fiscal year 2025 audit was presented in public session by our auditor, EFPR Group, on March 11th. EFPR gave the village a quote, an unmodified opinion for our overall fiscal condition. The presenter from EFPR commented that unmodified is the best opinion that we can give, meaning it's their highest ranking. Sometimes accounting speak isn't exciting. There are technical aspects and language around auditing, and one cannot take one statement out of context and deduce that applies to an entire budget. So translation, EFPR had accounting recommendations for the water fund, but overall the fiscal state of our village is sound. East Belvedere, we just mentioned that after many years of contested legal status, which created liability for the village, East Belvedere was declared a public road by use in a public session in June 2025, making possible village funding for necessary public water infrastructure improvements. Regarding bonding for purchase of 2 parcels on Lake Surprise Road. A commentator questioned the price that the village paid to acquire 2 critical parcels for the dam repair on Lake Surprise Road. There are many underappraised parcels in Phillipstown which have a market value far greater than the assessed value, especially in this tight real estate market. Lake Surprise Road acquisition is no standard real estate transaction. We're buying the security of our water supply as well as the safety of residents and investments downstream from the dam. So with that, let's have a look at general fund, Michelle did some moving of things around in the general fund. Let me just get that folder. To, and in part, that was, in response to public comment. She has included the grant funding and projects for both the Village Hall roof and the EV, the purchase of the EV charger for the police department.
The EV.
I'm sorry, the vehicle. So now there is revenue and expense for those items. We've worked with Will, Angelillo, and Bugsy to try to get a tighter definition of what CHIPS funding we can achieve this year, for paving. Some of the cost of Mountain and Fishkill Road, the costs are higher than originally estimated, which you can explain. We're 3 years past the original estimates that we gave to FEMA. So we have to cover some of those costs, and Will and Michelle went through and determined which ones are CHIPS eligible, so we can use some of our CHIPS money for that. Those costs for the FEMA recovery project, in theory, we can go back and ask FEMA for more. Given the state of FEMA, I don't know if that's a realistic possibility, but it is an option. And so that leaves, that sort of takes a chunk of CHIPS, and we have a smaller pool to work with. We still have a lot of CHIPS money, however, and working with Will, prioritized taking out to bid the following, on which I am willing to take comment. Rock Street for the intersection of Kemble and Main beyond the small damage area. That intersection needs work generally. Main from the light to High Street. Chestnut Street, where it Y's off and goes around the apartments there. So those are Bugsy's proposed and prioritized projects for paving. Am I missing one?
Is that called Chestnut Street?
Fair Street.
Oh, and Fair Street, the end of Fair Street. Yep,
This end of this.
this end of Fair Street. Thank you. Yep, between the intersection and sort of midway up. We do have a larger future capital project on Fair Street that needs more engineering. So this will just be a partial repair to get that end of the street in better condition for the season.
Kathleen, did you say 2 sections of Main Street or 1?
2 sections of Main Street, one, and again, this all depends on what the bids come back. Remember, everything is higher. The cost of asphalt is higher. The cost of fuel is higher. So last year we got a lot done for a really great amount of money. We'll have to see what the numbers come back.
Yeah.
But given what we have to work with after Fishkill and Main, these were the recommendations from Bugsy. So the Main Street pieces are the more expansive intersection of Kemble, Garden, and Main.
Oh, great. I'm just, I think
The crosswalk needs work. It's cheaper to bid it out as part of the larger project.
yeah.
Obviously, right now, we've got that metal plate there.
Yeah.
To protect the new grate while the concrete's set. So what I would propose is having Pizzella come back and pave that immediate area,
Mhm.
and then the larger intersection bid out with the larger project, 'cause it'll be
Yeah.
cheaper than paying Pizzella to do that small piece. And he also just doesn't, I mean, it wouldn't be a smooth production in the way, he's not a paver, he's an excavator. And then the other piece of Main is from the light down to High Street, particularly on the south side. Main Street and Fair are concrete
Mhm.
streets underneath, and the concrete is pretty widely exposed on the south side. Thank you.
I think there will be
I mean, if we can get it all done, it'd be great, but yeah.
My one question is, what's the section between those two that's not getting paid? And is there any rationale for doing the whole strip?
Money.
Yeah.
Right now, it's from, it'd be all the way up from Joseph's Jewelers, to Cozy Corner, is that the name of the diner now? So it's not a small stretch, it's a big stretch. And I have the same impulse always that I'm like, well, we're there, just do it.
Yeah.
But we have to balance out condition, road conditions there versus other places and other places that have been waiting for improvement.
Yeah.
So I would love to do the whole strip of Maine, but I think, places like Rock Street's been waiting a long time and has big holes.
Yeah.
So if we had endless amount of money. So keep your fingers crossed on the bid.
Okay.
So my point was, she adjusted the numbers for paving in the budget based on those conversations. Is there anything else? I want to make sure that the paving for the firehouse and the firehouse pad and the area behind the parking garage where the police cars are stored, I want to make sure that got included. I think it did, but I need to ask Michelle to confirm. Is there anything else that anybody, general fund or water and sewer items?
I got two things. What anything with shared services with that, for that paving? Cause I
With
know
which thing?
for the paving.
The county bids out
Oh,
paving and so does Phillipstown.
mhm.
We piggybacked, it's kind of shared services. We piggybacked last year on a county contract, which is huge with Clove, which is one of the reasons we were able to, because they've got a huge contract with the
Right,
county.
right.
So we were able to get the county's really great pricing. So it's not the county crew coming out and doing the work, but it's the county's procured contractor. They follow the same, it's a state bid. And the county's already vetted them. So we're kind of optimizing their procurement policy.
And then as far as priorities would go, I would go with whatever, Mr. Downey says.
Those were the,
He-
pla-
he-
those
you
are
know,
the places. he
Yeah,
picked.
yeah, he's out there.
He's the one on the ground.
Yeah, he's got boots on the ground, as they say.
Those were his locations. He had originally wanted to do Parrot and Pine. But on inspection with Will on site, there's more drainage involvement. That is more expensive and is not CHIPS eligible. So that's one we have to plan for a little more.
Parsonage and Pine.
No, that's where the funeral home is, Parrot and Pine. Okay, well, if there's nothing else on funds, I will make a motion to enter executive session. Are we good on those topics? So I would like to make a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing employment history of particular individuals and discussing current litigation with our attorney. So if you're joining us online, we're going to say goodnight. Thank you for coming in. Except for John, you have to stay. And we'll need to ask the public to leave the room, please.
Public and the press.
And the
Especially the press.
At 9:07 p.m., I made a motion to exit executive session. Andrew Hall seconded. We all voted in favor to exit, and now I make a motion to adjourn. Second. In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Marjorie.
Still a call.